Hello and welcome, my dear friend. They finally realize what they had, but only after you're gone. It's almost as if the weight of your absence shakes their entire world. And here's the thing, it's not just about missing you, it's about what you represent. Your energy is rare, your presence is unforgettable, and when you leave, something irreplaceable goes with you. But this isn't just a message about being missed. This is deeper. This is about understanding your impact. Because sometimes the greatest proof of your power isn't seen while you're present. It's seen the moment you step away. When you're no longer filling in the gaps, people are left with their own emptiness. And that silence, it's deafening. Today we're diving deep into the undeniable force of your presence, the unshakable void you leave behind, and why it's not your job to fill it. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll realize that you were never just someone in the room. Stay with me. This one's for you. The power you didn't even know you had. Let's get one thing straight. You are not like everyone else. You never have been. The moment you enter a space, everything shifts. And it's not because you demand attention. It's because your spirit has a weight to it. It carries peace, clarity, and a depth that people don't even recognize until you're gone. Here's the wild part. You don't have to say a word for people to feel it. Your presence shifts the atmosphere just by existing. Have you ever noticed how people start acting differently around you? It's not just your kindness or warmth. It's something far more profound. Your energy reveals what's hidden. Some people are comfortable living in denial. They tell themselves stories about who they are and what they're doing. But when you're around, those stories start to unravel. You don't have to do anything. Just your presence alone exposes the truth. And that's why some people feel uncomfortable around you. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because they see themselves more clearly, and they don't like what they see. But let me make one thing clear. This impact isn't about your attitude or ego. It's not because you're loud, forceful, or boastful. It's your presence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Who would have thought that a person so humble, kind, and compassionate could create such a profound shift? People assume power looks like domination, but in reality, it looks like you, calm, steady, and deeply aware. The reason your absence hits so hard is simple. When you're present, people feel seen, even if they pretend not to. They may not acknowledge it, but they know it. You become their mirror. And when that mirror disappears, they're left with only their reflection. No distractions, no excuses, just themselves. Why your absence hits harder than words. When you leave, it's not quiet. People feel it. They feel it in places they didn't know existed. It's like when a light goes out in a room. It's not just darker, it's disorienting. People forget how much they relied on you to feel steady, even if they never said it out loud. But here's the thing, you don't just leave. You shift the balance. When you walk away from someone, a place, or even a role, you take something intangible with you. People feel it in their thoughts, in their emotions, and in their moments of quiet. Ever noticed how people suddenly remember you after weeks, months, or even years of silence? It's not a coincidence. It's because, without you, their world never settled back into balance. They may not admit it to you, but they're thinking, something's off. What's off is that you're gone. It's funny how people will ignore you while you're present, but then obsess over you when you're not. And this is where it gets interesting. They might never tell you, Their pride won't let them. Their ego will convince them to act as if everything's fine, but you'll feel it. Some people will even test you to see if you still care. Random texts, mysterious likes on your social media posts, people who suddenly remember you after being silent for months. They're checking for access, but access has been revoked. They just don't want to accept it yet. The space you leave behind is sacred. Let me tell you something that will change the way you see yourself. Not everyone deserves to have access to you. Some people only understand the value of a home after it's been foreclosed. While you were present, they assumed they'd always have access to you. They thought, they're just like that, they'll always be there. But they failed to understand that God doesn't send people to stay where they aren't valued. Here's where it gets real. When God calls you to exit a situation, it's never random. Your presence was assigned to that space, and when the assignment is over, you're removed. But what they don't tell you is this: the space you leave behind doesn't close, it stays open. This is why people feel your absence for so long. You didn't just fill a seat at their table. You were the one providing the wisdom, the peace, the clarity, all without asking for anything in return. So when you leave, that space remains hollow. People try to fill it with replacements, distractions, and noise, but nothing works. Why? Because you are not replaceable. You are not another friend, another partner, or another person they know. You are a one-of-a-kind blueprint. No one else can bring what you bring. That space will stay vacant until God decides to fill it. The truth they'll never admit. Here's a secret. They know. They know you're unforgettable. They know you're rare. They know you saw them in ways nobody else could. But they'll never say it out loud. Their pride won't let them. Their ego will have them pretending like they're just fine. But you know better. You've seen it before. That person who suddenly pops up in your inbox pretending like it's just to check in. No, they're not checking in. They're checking to see if you still care. They want to know if they still have access to you. Don't give it to them. Sometimes people have to feel the full weight of their decisions. They have to face the emptiness of the space you left behind. And they have to realize that no amount of pride or ego will fill it. They'll scroll through their contacts, look at old messages, and think about the times they had access to you. That's not your concern anymore. And here's where it gets interesting. God is elevating you in this very moment. The places you're about to enter demand all of your energy, not fragments left behind in spaces you've outgrown. This next chapter isn't about teaching people lessons. It's about your expansion. If you're feeling like people from the past are suddenly thinking about you, it's because they are. You can feel it. You can sense it. But here's the twist. It doesn't matter anymore. You're walking into a space where your presence will be valued, not just felt. The people who took you for granted will watch from a distance, but they won't have access to you. So, my dear friend, understand this. Your absence is felt for a reason. It's not random. It's not meaningless. It's not just a feeling. It's a spiritual shift. Your energy wasn't just a nice addition to their life. It was the reason they felt peace, the reason they felt seen, and now that you're gone, they have to face themselves. But here's the best part. You're not going back. You've seen too much, grown too much, shifted too much. The only way to go is forward. The version of you that stayed in those spaces no longer exists. They didn't just lose a person. They lost the only one who saw them fully and still accepted them. No one else can fill that role. You didn't just walk away, you broke free. And when you break free, you never return to chains. Walk boldly, my friend, because the next chapter demands all of you. Not everyone deserves access to you. But where you're going, they'll be honored to have you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found value in this video, please like, share, subscribe, and continue your transformational journey by watching one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you. See you there.